Good morning. This is the Select Board meeting in Lakeville on February 6th. Let's see. I will entertain a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, specifically with PBA Local 185. IAFF Local 3188 and Laborers International Union pursuant to Mass General Law Chapter 38 Section 21A to discuss strategy with respect to and to discuss strategy and preparations for negotiations with non-union personnel, specifically the fire chief. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the board's bargaining position and the vice chair so declares, and for approval of executive session minutes for January 9th, 2023, January 23rd, 2023, and January 27th, 2023, and possibly return to open session.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, roll call vote, please.
Carboni, aye.
Fabian, aye. All right, so we're going into executive session. All right, so we have resumed after our executive session, and we have a few more things on our agenda. So the next thing we're going to do is discuss and possible vote on the memorandum of agreement with the IAFF Local 3188, which is also known as our firefighters union. Any discussion on what we have in front of us? All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement with IAFF Local 3188.
3188. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Carboni, aye.
Lakeville, aye.
Fabian, aye. All right, next we have the laborers union. Any discussion on the laborers union contract we have in front of us? All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement with the Laborers International Union.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Carboni, aye.
Lakeville, aye.
Fabian, aye. And next we have the renewal of the fire chief's contract. So, do we have any questions, comments?
I will note for the record, we need to replace some references to Board of Selectmen with Select Board. So
Oh, okay, yeah, thank you. So yes, the original draft we have and the original contract, the fire chief had said Board of Selectmen, so we will definitely be changing all that to Select Board. Any comments, questions from the fire chief who's in the crowd?
Just I wanted to extend my gratitude for an opportunity to serve for additional 3 years.
All right. Okay, if that's all, then I will entertain a motion to approve the renewal of the Fire Chief Michael O'Brien's contract, which starts July 1st, 2023 through
June 30th, 26.
June 30th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? I'd just like to say I'm glad you're sticking around for a few more years too. I think we've made some great changes operationally and culturally, and I hope we continue to do that great work. Just keep working together, and I think it'll be great. Anybody else?
No, thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Carboni, aye.
Lakeville, aye.
And Fabian, aye. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, everybody.
Next, we have, so there has been some question out there on the, what is it called? The residents at LeBaron Hills Development Agreement. So a lot of folks are again, asking, and I know that we've said this a few times, but the original development agreement with LeBaron, which predates some of us, had called for them, and I've seen this on Facebook so many times, so, you know, let's try to get the information out again. It was originally for the developer to make a sidewalk from Furnav down to the senior center. But that was the original agreement that was done in 2003. However, back in 18, that was changed. So for a lot of folks, you know, they're still wondering why that hasn't been done. So it was none of us on the board at the time that made that change, and that's fine because it was a decision that involved many parties, including DPW director and maintenance of sidewalks. And but at this time, I know there is questions. So the reason I thought we should bring it up is because if, you know, someone has something that they would like to present, one of us, or the town administrator, to work with the developer on, we could always amend that agreement. I know in the contract it said it reserves the right to do it at a later time, so this could possibly be that time. So ahead of approvals, you know, they're going through changes at LeBaron, so I just wanted to make the board and anyone who's asking questions aware. So if there's ideas that anyone has, they want to report them to the town administrator. I mean, I, you know, don't know what's going on, if there's,
If I
Can
can,
I, oh, excuse me.
yep,
I just wanted to I think there's a little piece in here that might help clear up a little bit what it is that we're talking about. When we entered into the agreement with the developer, there was obviously going to be an impact on resources, you know, in our municipality. So at that point, there becomes a dialogue about mitigation, and I believe that's what the original idea was about that sidewalk. And then that was pulled, but now that the agreement has been, I guess, coming back for discussion, this is all about the mitigation as to the impact for that development in our municipality and how we can mitigate that and what would be the best approach for the town. And I think that's a piece that, you know, might have been missing in some of the discussion as to why we're talking about the sidewalk. Yeah.
So if you look at page 7 of the Board of Appeals decision, modification decision, number 8, it shall be the applicant and the town of Lakeville acting as the Board of Selectmen will enter in a mutual agreement, host community agreement for the purpose of modifying the original agreement upon mitigation. In no event shall the cost of the modified mitigation be less than the original cost, you know, of the mitigation. So if you go back and you look at the, I don't know if I recommended you take a look at the minutes of August 29th. We went into an extensive discussion about what the cost would be to put that sidewalk in, and through the town administrator and the director of the highway. Back then, the estimated cost 20 years ago was like $350,000, and the estimated cost today is at least $500,000, okay? But that's not the problem. One of the main problems why they didn't move forward with the sidewalk, which was the right decision to make, is that we would have to pay for all of the design. We would have to pay for engineering fees. We would have to pay for the movement, the utility poles, because where it's located, all those poles along Precinct Street would have to be modified, and that's a significant cost, which I think the cost estimate was like $500,000 if I remember correctly. So then we looked at the other option of moving it on the other side of Precinct Street as a possibility. But the problem is even worse because Taunton Water Supply is over there, which means serious drainage, issues and costs associated with the drainage to put that in. So, and of course, we just did that road over too, as well, I don't know, about 3 years ago or whatever. So the decision not to move forward with the sidewalk at this point makes a lot of sense. So then the question of, mitigation. There has been significant changes, to the special permit, over the years. Number one is the Board of Appeals lifted the restriction of 55 and older. Okay.
Yep.
So this doesn't apply anymore. Okay. The other thing that they allowed was they allowed them to put up 70 houses on 10,000 square foot lots. Okay. So that was a major modification, 2 major modifications, to the permit as well. Whether you disagree or it's good or bad or indifferent, whatever, that's okay. So at this point, and if you look at the, once again, you go back to the permit, and the permit says that they approved those changes, and they also approved phase 4 and 5, have been approved. Okay? The only thing that they're working on right now, which the Board of Appeals is working on, is the site plan and the architectural design. Okay? The permit is already approved, so the Board of Appeals may modify the conditions, okay? But they can't change the permit. Okay? The permit, it is what it is, and it's for 386 units, over all those years. It goes back to 2003. So, as you know, we have been working on the highway office, and that's been going on for over 3 years now, believe it or not. And so one of the problems that we ran into with the highway bond is the cost of the highway bond is, highway office, not the highway bond, is extremely expensive. We originally thought of maybe $500,000, and now we're at least $1 million, $1.5 million, somewhere in that area. So what I think we should to discuss, and there's been preliminary discussions, with the developer at LeBaron, of possibly using that mitigation money to pay for the highway office. Now, what's the advantage of doing that? First of all, they would donate it to the town, number one. Number two is we'd save a substantial amount of money because we don't have to pay prevailing wages and so forth and so on. So we would get the office built, at no cost to the town, which would be significant. Now, we've already set aside, I don't remember the number, what are we, $300,000 or $400,000 already somewhere in that area?
235.
How much?
235.
Oh, geez, 235, so
I
it's a
actually
small
thought
amount.
it was more than that too, Rich.
I did too. I thought we voted something twice.
I thought
but
we
okay.
voted extra. There was the
Right.
original amount and then extra.
But we already used some of it.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, I think that this is, since all those restrictions have been lifted as far as 55 and older and so forth and so on, I think this would give us a perfect opportunity to ask them to approve this, and I know they'll do it because we've talked to them. Barry's talked to them about it too. So I think this is a good alternative, unless somebody's got any other ideas.
I mean, it certainly increases the population of the town, which is increasing, traffic on the streets
roads.
and.
Yeah.
Increased DPW work, right.
And then the other thing too is that main building, the main barn, needs additional work, so we could take the money that we appropriated for the office and use it to upgrade, because, the bathroom that's in there is in terrible condition. But even though we'll have a new bathroom in the office, right?
Well, I mean, part of, what we need to do as a, municipality is to maintain and, our buildings, and
Yeah,
so.
and that one's been a problem, so,
Absolutely.
yeah. We won't go into it.
Well,
So, this is a huge, developmental project and agreement, so, this is, what did you say, phase 5 has been,
Phase
approved?
4 and 5 were approved.
Approved through this document, right, so 6 is still hanging out there, we haven't even gotten there yet.
I don't think that we have to be responsible for waiting for 6 to be approved, because it's a new phrase that was not even in
Right,
the original agreement. And since it's already spelled out in here that they are responsible to provide this mitigation for the town,
mhm.
I just think that it's time to ask them and get it in writing, that's all.
Right. I'm
That's
not
what-
opposed
If that's
to-
what the board agrees to.
I'm not opposed to allocating, the mitigation funds. We definitely have been, we went out to look at the cost to get that facility up at the, Department of Public Works, and it was way outside of what we originally had planned, so.
That's what we got last year, late 21, so the year before last. And then that was at the height of construction costs, but
Yeah.
still 2.1 million.
Yeah, that was a huge, wake-up call, I think. We were thinking to,
And the good news is too, the preliminary design is already done, so this would be something we could probably move forward this summer, to get that thing, if everybody agrees to, that's what we should be doing.
yeah, I don't see any other projects right now that, it has to stay under mitigation, so I don't see any other projects that are as necessary right now. So
But right off the bat, we would save at least 30%
right,
of the cost of a project, whatever that project is. That's
Right.
significant.
right, because we have to pay all those things that we know. I know folks say it shouldn't cost that much money to build a building, but it does, because the town has to pay prevailing wage and, everything else, so.
Project manager. we have to
Project
hire a
manager.
Project manager. We have to hire an architect,
Yep,
all those things associated with it.
yep. So, I think this is a good idea. I think too, it spells it right out, like you said, Rich, on that page, number 8, it spells it right out there, the applicant in the town of Lakeville, like you said. I don't know, do we want a formal vote? Do we want to, it sounds to me like Lorraine, you're in favor too.
yep,
We
So,
didn't have a vote on the agenda, so.
oh, okay, so, I guess,
But I would
I-
suggest that if there's no objection to the board,
impossible vote, oh, no, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Oh, modifications, okay, we're just
Yeah.
if
discussing
there's
it,
no
but,
objection to the board, I've been working on this, as you know, for 3
Yeah.
years.
yeah,
And we will meet with the developer, get it finalized, and bring it back to the board for their approval.
yeah.
If everybody's in agreement with that.
You have my blessing, Lorraine.
yeah, no, I think it would be a good, use of mitigation funds, for, town services,
Okay.
absolutely.
And I know Ari's with you on that too, right, Ari? You're-
We'll follow the board's direction.
Yeah. I do think that we should try to get this done. And I also think we should close the loop, the open end part of this contract here. I feel like this is just kind of hanging out there, and I think we should finish the open business left by this contract, so, yeah. So I guess you and Rich will work together
Okay.
and report back.
Okay.
When you have anything, we'll put it on an agenda, that way we can discuss, right?
Thank you.
Okay. I think that's it. I didn't put new business or old business on, because I know Ari has a whole day to get to. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Carboni, aye?
Look,
Baby and I. All right, thank you. Thank you, Lake Camp.
I have the MOA